Hello, everyone. This is Matt Larson with Big Sioux Media as we come to you with a special report on COVID 19 that seems to be on everybody's mind right now. And we're lucky enough to be joined by Dr. Summer Schultz, the superintendent of Dell Rapids School District. And first of all, I want to thank you for joining us here.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think we just get right into it. We all know kind of the situation that's happening with this COVID 19 virus. It's changing what seems like almost hourly right now with updates from the president or the CDC, different health officials, even the governor. How is the school preparing for this ever changing directions that you seem to be getting with this situation?
I tell you, we just happened to get out in front of it a couple weeks ago. It started with a conversation from our tech department, and they really were one of the people at the forefront that thought some of the things we had in place we should start putting together. And we had already been looking at the possibility of needing to order different cleaning supplies, that sort of thing. But we just decided as an admin team that we'd bring it all together. So we were putting a plan together a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't a plan that needed to be static. We knew it would evolve as we got more information, and like you said, that's exactly what's happened. Once we think we're getting in front of something and have a good idea, we tend to get a detour and have to go a different direction. But just knowing we had some things in place for our facilities, for technology, for staff, for students, we've been able to be able to combat whatever's been thrown at us.
And I know a couple of things that the school is doing to hopefully ease the situation for families. The SAC lunches, I know, started today, and also e-learning, which I know that's kind of a big thing we'll get into in just a moment. So we'll start with the lunches first. Again, you did it today for the first time. How did that go? And, what kind of plans might be in place for the school should this extended absence last beyond this week?
Right. Well, and that's what we really are trying to plan for. I think we would all be foolish if we thought it was going to disrupt our lives this week and then we were all going to go back to normal next week. So we've been trying to plan long term, and the one thing we know is so many of our families do depend on that our food service program, and that's for breakfast and lunch. And so we thought if we could at least get a waiver through our food service program to provide our regular lunches for kids, that would be a good start. I will say Barb Littell, she is just phenomenal. Our business manager, she literally left her husband after surgery in the hospital and came and worked on this application this weekend with me, so that we could get a waiver approved on Saturday. And what that waiver does is it allows our students who are on free and reduced meals or any sort of assistance, we get those meals at that same cost. And then ultimately it let us get free meals for everybody. So we took it one step farther to see if we could get the waiver to just get free meals. And that works. So now every meal that a student takes, we get reimbursed for that. And so that takes a big burden off of families. So many of our families are working or, like I said, they were dependent on our food service program. So now we have those lunches where any kid, K through 12 can get a lunch. We are looking at the possibility, we don't have this in place, but if this closure were to extend longer, we've even thought about taking our school bus routes and delivering lunches on the school bus route, because I know it might be a little bit more difficult for our out of town or rural kids to get school lunches. And so we would just send our bus drivers out, those who would be willing, and we could kind of do Meals on Wheels and have that connection with the kids. Drop them off. Of course, we'd keep our social distancing, but we're looking at a bigger plan for that.
And so you mentioned with you being able to offer lunches to all K through 12 students. I know you had the survey out over the weekend to try to get an idea of how many you might need. Is that going to be something that you'll need to keep doing going forward? As more people hear, oh, I didn't know that maybe we would qualify for lunch. Or are you going to continue to try to get a head count of what you might need?
I tell you, we anytime you do something the first time, you think, oh, we should have done that a little different. And so the survey worked for this first week, but I do think that if this closure lasts longer, there's going to be more families. I know for my own kids, my kindergartner, her best meal she could get would be coming from my food service folks, better than, whatever I'm going to leave her. So I think more people will sign up for it. And we do have to figure out, especially if we're going to continue delivering, which I think it's imperative we do that. We will keep asking for feedback from parents on, how we can best serve them, how we can get those meals to them. We've also been so fortunate. There's been people in our community that have provided extra snacks for kids. And I just had someone drop off drinks, beverages, and then breakfast food. So, anytime it seems like something like this goes on in Del Rapids, people rally around folks.
And that's, I think, one of the great things about living in town is that we have people that step up and help like that. So if there's any other businesses or folks that want to maybe add to that, who could they contact to, arrange that?
I think I'm probably the best person. And then if I can forward that on, say to our counselors or something, I've been trying to delegate a few duties, but ultimately, if it at least starts with me, I can get it dispersed and we get, keep it organized.
Sure. So let's switch topics a little bit. I think maybe the big thing that was announced over the weekend was this concept of trying to do some e-learning. I'd have to imagine that maybe this idea was put in place with some of the situations we dealt with last year with the flooding in the spring and the fall, and maybe hearing that could be a problem again this spring. But now we've got this thing with the virus. What does this e-learning look like for your staff and students?
Yes, it did. It's been two springs ago. We started pretty heavily working on Google Classroom training. And of course, Google Classroom is more relevant to some teachers than others. And so some have been using it and embedding their current classes with Google Classroom already. And so just slowly over time, we've been working on some different technology components for all of our classes so that was never going to be a big, okay, now we're completely virtual or something. We've been giving little nuggets to staff. And I don't think I've ever been more proud to be the superintendent of this group than I have been actually these last couple days, because just seeing the progress they've made, and for those who some of the virtual learning doesn't come natural, say you're teaching industrial tech or PE, you probably weren't really worried about some of these tools and things we've been showing them, but they have all embraced it. So we have just been saying, okay, teachers, here's a toolbox of things. You maybe want to learn how to do a video and input that into your Google Classroom or something else. We've invested in our district in the Waterford Early Learning Program for grades. It would be K-Prep, kindergarten, and first. And that is just a wonderful tool for our little ones to do e-learning. So when you say, what does that look like? The great part is we have enough tools here that we can pull off virtual learning in kindergarten, and we can pull it off, in Jan Saxon's advanced math class. Now, all of our teachers are not experts by any means, but we have integrationists. We have a technology staff that's been training them. We'll sit down with them. I kind of told my principals their instructional leadership is going to make or break this initiative. So staff is rolling out a soft lesson this week. So I was happy when you asked to do this, because I just really want parents to, if their kids' Chromebooks are still in their cars or whatnot, get those out. They have teachers checking in, and we need that feedback to know how many kids can access this, their Google Classroom and their virtual learning from home. Because if we need to do a paper component, we will deliver those. We will make that work if this is an extended closure. So it's going to look a little different in every class, but every teacher has been trained and is ready to try it.
And I'm lucky enough to be a parent, I think, of having a child in each building. So I see every progression of it. I've got a K-Prep, and we just went through that online program, and my son sat at the computer and thought that was the greatest 25 minutes of his day.
Right.
Was sitting through and learning through that. And my middle school and high schooler now, they've jumped on today, made sure that they're able to access and check it out. So I think it's fantastic that that's a component that is available to the students as we look at possibly having this extended absence, which, as a parent, I'll ask this question, because this might be on the mind of a lot of parents, is how does this e-learning curriculum coordinate with the required contact hours that the school has to have in finishing out a school year with this type of situation?
Well, we're still trying to figure that all out. There are some, there are some ways to figure that out formula wise, as far as the anticipated amount of time we expect students to spend on classes. We figure that out, and then that helps us determine the number of hours we can count. Um, and that's been something we've talked about a lot, especially this morning with the high school staff, that we're getting word that there's a good chance the governor will forgive some of the student contact hours should these closures get extended. But at Dell Rapids, we're not as worried about those contact hours as we are getting content to the kids. And so we are able to count based on the expected number of hours and time that kids will work on these classes. But more importantly, we've said figure out those key concepts. If I'm a senior, or if I'm a junior going to take the ACT and I'm in a higher level class right now, what should I get? Regardless if the hours are forgiven, what do we want our kids to leave with? So we've been trying to really get those hot areas, those focus points, those focus standards, because we think the hours will be okay for graduation, and I do think the state will do some forgiveness, but we just want to make sure we're able to give high a quality education remotely if we have to. We're still crossing our fingers we get them back in the building, but we just don't know what that looks like.
Sure. Well, besides, we'll wrap this up here. I don't want to take up all of your time because I know with this always ever-changing situation, it seems like we mentioned hourly. What are some other things that you might want to get out to the parents as far as, where should they go for communications from the school district as things change, that kind of thing? What would you like to end with parents to know?
Yeah, I think that's been, one of the things for us is we've wanted to communicate a lot, but we know that everybody, looks at things different. Some still read the announcement, some don't even know that we have announcements, so if we just do one median, we're going to miss people, but we are always putting things on our Facebook page. Our Bright Arrow notification system has still been somewhat reliable, but it gives me a warning every time I go in there that says this might not go through. Our system is overloaded. And so we've been trying to ask you to put things out. We have that notification app. You can't use links necessarily in that, but it will alert people to a survey or something. We have a COVID-19 notification area on the top of our website. So we'll put them in those multiple places, our website, the Facebook page. We'll try to share it with media. And whenever I can, I will do bright arrows. So we just ask that people keep looking at all of those things because they might not always get a text alert or a call because that system is just really having troubles keeping up.
Right. Well, again, I want to thank you for taking the time to kind of give an update and share what's going on from the school standpoint. Again, as this is constantly changing, and again, we offer if there's any time that hey, we need to get a video out or you want to do something, let us know, and we'll set up a meeting like this and get the word out.
Great. Oh, thank you. I'm afraid we're probably going to need to do it again here soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you.